All right, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of A Hero's Guide to Asgartha. This time it's a news reaction. So today is the 11th of September, and there has been a massive news announcement coming out from Equinox on the Altered website titled Altered is 1 year old. What's next? What is next indeed? I'm going to read through the article. I'm going to take you through some of my reactions, some of my thoughts. There is a lot to potentially unpack, and there will be a lot of people with a lot of questions on their mind in terms of where does Altered go from here. So, starting off in February 2024, we launched Altered with a historic crowdfunding campaign. Our dream was clear: to shake up the TCG universe with a game unlike any other. Cards that are unique in the world, the ability to play online with your collection, and an ecosystem where selling, trading, and printing your cards happens instantly. And I think from that perspective, yes, there has been some issues, but I would say Altered is doing things that many other card games have not, or have not done it to the level that we have. But of course, it's not perfect. Since then, millions of cards have been scanned and played all over the world. The marketplace and print on demand have become reality. Though we're aware there is still room for improvement, oh by golly, is there? And the inaugural World Championship is taking place. From this energy, a living competitive game is born, carried by a passionate community that brings us together far beyond borders. And I believe it is the community that has done so much. And I've seen and met many of you around the States, or even spoken to you, gifted you guys some stuff through my tournaments that I run. There is really cool innovation. There's a really cool vibe about Altered. And the fact that we're having world championships within a year of release is amazing what they've been able to do. Of course, we know that there's plenty of issues, but so far, so good. The news is good so far. Altered has officially been in the hands of the public now for a year. For a year now. Over the past year, we've experimented and pushed boundaries, gathered valuable feedback from our partnered stores and players, and faced incredible challenges, with great successes, but also failures along the way. With all these accomplishments behind us, we want to share with you what we've learned from this past year and an important decision for the future of the game. Dun dun dun. Oh, here we go. Here we go. All right. I'm going to scroll up a little bit here. A participatory future. Okay, so far so good. As you know, the TCG world is buzzing with activity. New games are entering the field en masse, all competing for shelf space in stores and a spot in organized play calendars. Faced with this challenge, we made a decision true to our identity as an independent publisher, not to follow or conform to norms, but to carve our own path and keep innovation as we always have. Okay, so I think we know that Altered is small, especially outside of France, and I'll say outside of Europe. Here in the States, it's not too big. We are fighting for shelf space. We are fighting for space with Star Wars, Magic, Pokemon in particular, those three, Flesh and Blood, Yu-Gi-Oh, and the up and coming Riftbound that's coming up that has got a huge backing behind it. And I think I'm missing Lorcana. I think Lorcana is also massive. I know it's massive. That's why, with the full confidence and support of Asmodee, partner of Equinox, we've made the choice to take back Altered's distribution directly into our own hands. Starting with Set 5, Altered will be distributed through pre-order campaigns on GameFound. So they're moving away from Kickstarter into GameFound, which comes with many advantages for everyone. No set will ever be reprinted once a campaign ends. Every card printed exists because someone wanted it. You'll benefit from tailored offers depending on your preferences, and going direct will improve our ability to listen and react to your needs. Okay, I'm going to stop there for a second. So, my initial reactions is that Asmodee, as well as Equinox, seem to not be comfortable with the situation, the status quo of their distribution relationship. What's interesting is I believe Asmodee owns a part of Equinox. They do have some like buy-in into their future. But they've decided to part ways. From my end, it looks like it's Equinox that's made the decision, basically saying this isn't working. We're not getting what we need. In my mind, there is so much focus of Asmodee on other products that we need this star to shine, and we're not able to let it shine with what we've done. Um, Going to GameFound is interesting. Like they had a proven track record with Kickstarter, but GameFound is where they're going. Um, there's a lot in here. The part that's really striking to me right now is no set will ever be reprinted. It doesn't mean the card won't be imprinted when I read this, but the set itself won't. So it leaves itself option to, I guess, reprinting through sets that get the best of each card from multiple sets in the future potentially. Um, but it does tell me that you they were only going to print enough for what people buy. So it's and then that is it. So let's continue reading a little bit. The pace remains the same. A new set every 4 months. That's good to know. Each release won't just be a wave of products, but a full-fledged event. All right. Um, GameFound to me, when I think about it, it's usually for consumers, but also stores. So you can go and buy direct from them. You put a bid in, and if the game gets approved, in this case, it's not a game; it's the set gets approved. You just get everything, and you get charged for what you order. So it does leave the store a little bit, which takes us to the next question that's brought up here. Um, I'm a little bit flustered as we're going through here. Like you can probably hear it, you can sense it, you can, and I'm sure you are going through very similar emotions in terms of what does this mean for me as a player? What does it mean for my local game store? What does it mean about for organized play? What does it mean for Equinox? Are they going to stay around? And these are all valid questions, and you don't need to squash them. I think it's good to actually be discussing them, and there is so much discussion already happening in various Discord servers and outside of that in face to face discussions as well. So, what about stores? Stores are now more than ever at the heart of the Altered adventure. This new approach allows us to work hand in hand with them. Starting with Set 5, stores will have a direct line of communication with us, not bundled, not mixed with with other topics, but simpler and more efficient. Stores will be in the spotlight. We have prepared a strong plan to address their challenges regarding margins and payment terms. All right, so there is some discussion with some stores. I'm assuming they've already reached out to a few stores to say what's the best approach for us to do this. But I know, at least here in the States, there has been issues with stores and the way that they had to work through Asmodee to get product as their distributor. I know Latin America had huge issues with distribution to those stores. Now it's basically saying, let's get rid of that third party. You work directly with us. That's a lot of burden, though, that Equinox is saying we're going to bring upon ourselves. It's also very ballsy for a brand new game to say this. They have so much confidence in what they're able to do, and on the other side, a lack of confidence that this would be able to be achieved under the old model, that they had to make a change. They're betting on themselves. And for me, as someone that loves the game, that's backed it since Kickstarter, it's exciting, but also very scary. What does this mean about the hundreds of dollars that each of us has spent, and maybe some spent more? Is it just going to waste? Will the game survive? That is still at the center of what I'm thinking right now. We have prepared a strong plan to address their challenges regarding margins and payment terms. That is good for the store. Of course, because it tells me that I can go direct to them and the store can go direct to them to buy, the store needs to have some level of discount or the ability of buying more. The thing that I look at is here, that also means there's going to be some scalpers out there. Those that buy a ton of product to resell at a huge margin. But given what we've seen in the marketplace today, for the majority of commons and rares, assuming they're still going to be sufficient in hand, I'm hoping the prices stay low. That is one of the benefits of Altered, where you can have a fantastically good playing deck without spending a fortune. You have the ability of playing it online, but you also can play it in real life. Additionally, they'll have access to exclusive packs. So this is the stores. They'll have access to exclusive packs as well as organized play kits designed to bring Altered to life in stores. Okay, so they're going to have special products, special things that are only for them that you're not going to see on BGA, that you're not going to see through GameFound, which I think is good. Let's try to keep that alive. Without the local game store, for me, I don't know how a game can survive. Because how do you bring in new players if you're not having that face to face experience? Um, we want to build with every shop a relationship of trust, long lasting, and beneficial for all. Now, I'm going to put on the hat of the store for a second. Do I want to deal directly with another company? Um, that is a valid question because now you're asking them not only do they have to build their relationship with 20 or 30 suppliers that bring in everything for their store, you're asking them to do one more, but that will only provide one level of product. And in many cases, this product isn't something that the greater community is asking for. Yes, there's niches. There's you and I. There's our friends that we go see weekly to play this game. But is it enough of a draw? Um, from a player, I'm like, well, will I lose the places that I'm playing at if they don't choose to buy in? Will they still support a Saturday night for me game? I'm not sure. I hope they would, but there needs to be something in it for the store. So all products, including GameGenic accessories, published before Set 5 will remain available as at Asmodee. So that catalog, you can still have that. The stores will still be able to buy Set 1, 2, 3, and 4 as long as they're available, including all accessories through GameGenic. The other part of note is GameGenic is, I believe, partly owned also by Asmodee. So what happens about accessories going forward? Um, will we have a separate relationship with GameGenic? Will we have to do nothing? Will we get something through another company? I don't know. Once again, another burden to add to our thoughts of what is going on. Uh, Despite all this, as I've read, I'm still hopeful. I still believe this game is fantastic enough to survive. What I don't know is how many other games have actually brought their work in-house when they had gone through, and I'll say Asmodee being one of the biggest distributors in the world. Mostly board games, but also Star Wars. And Star Wars, I think, in my mind, is one of the reasons this decision has been made. Is that there is so much focus on them on that card game and making that survive that we didn't want to be, by we, look at this, I'm talking as if I'm part of the company, but Equinox probably did not want to play Little Brother when they had aspirations that were much bigger than than Asmodee was allowing them to do at the pace they wanted. All right, let's move on to the next section. Anything else planned? Oh, yes. It wouldn't be Altered without a bright new future to look forward to. Players can expect big announcements ahead, product innovations, exciting new rarities. Oh, that's great. Fresh cards, updated packs, box toppers. So if you're buying, I don't know if a box topper is if you buy a case or if you buy a box. Exclusive items, the woolly woolly. I'm assuming that's exactly what we've seen on Instagram, the little sheep. Um, More collaborations with Board Game Arena, fan contests, giveaways, and major digital improvements coming very soon. I'm really excited about the digital improvements. I would hope that would come ASAP. We are confident that year two will bring its shares of joy, excitement, and forgettable moments. You won't be missing a thing. Save the date, October 15th. Want to know more? Mark the date in your calendar. We can't wait to see you there. So, in just over a month, and what's insane is this announcement of, I would assume the announcement means you're going to start sharing a lot of insight about Set 5 and what it will give you in terms of cards, rarities. It's saying they're new cards. No, sorry, not just new cards, but new rarities. How does that impact the current build of 15 rares and 3 uniques? Will it be completely different, or will they fit into those buckets? I hope they fit into the buckets personally. I do love that you have a huge part of your deck being commons. Um, wow. But this is October 15th. October 15th is about 2 weeks after the release of set 4. Set 4 is not going to get much of a chance to shine on its own before we start bringing in elements of set 5. And I understand why. If we're going under this new distribution model where every one of us has to go back and either go through a store and work through a store that is going through GameFound, or I assume us ourselves can go and buy product on GameFound, or bid for products or purchase them. I don't know the right term. I've not used GameFound myself. I've used Kickstarter, but what will we be able to get? You're putting up money up front. If the game survives, and I want the game to survive, as the game survives, I will say one thing: those people that buy these products, if you're an investor, are going to make a killing. Now, it shouldn't be about that. It's about playability, but there's an element of you need your players, you also need your investors. There's a balance. I don't know what that balance is, but there's a balance that's needed that will show both elements working together to get enough product out there so that the player base is happy, but the investor has chase cards. One of the things we have not seen in Altered is there's really very little chase cards. Yes, of course, there's unique. It's a 1 of 1. You have a 1 in 8 chance of getting it, traditionally. But that's not enough. I'm excited to see what they will do to bring people back, because right now there's really no joy in opening a box. You'll get 4 or 5 uniques, some of which are great, some of which are awful, and some of which are a question mark right now, but they could be good in the future. I'm interested to hear what you all are thinking, what you are all worried about, what you are all potentially excited about. For me, I love the idea of removing shackles and betting on yourself. I love it. From someone that loves those epic movies, those great books that talk about some up-and-comer that becomes somebody, it's fantastic. But those that survive are very few and far between. I believe in Altered. I absolutely do. I love the game. The game's play in and of itself is fantastic. But this is where I go and ask Equinox to do a couple of things. How are you manned up for this additional change? This increase in your team's, not capability, but what is being asked of them. Are you manned up? Do you have enough to ensure that the game experience for players is not affected? For the stores, that they have enough trust in you to continue to invest in you and buy product knowing that the game will grow, knowing that players will go through them, investors will go through them to buy product, as opposed to just doing it on GameFound. How do you bring the store more to become more integral to your entire delivery model? I know we're all in kind of shock, as I am, but I look back. I don't like, if I'm doing it for myself, do any of us ever want to play second fiddle to another game, to something else? I don't think any of us do. Would we be game enough to make the choice that Equinox has just made of saying, I'm going to bet on myself? And if we are, hats off to you. It's not something that everyone or every company does. I love the way that they've actually articulated this article of saying, we want to make sure we live up to our ethos. We live up to what we planned out and set out to do at day dot. I just hope as they do this, we are incredibly informed of every step along the way, so that fear that we have, and I would say most of us will have an element of fear, starts to subside. Now, what other games have done something like this and gone out on their own, or even if they started on their own? I've heard Keyforge has done it. I don't know. Outside of that, I also hope that this is an interim measure that at some future date we go back to a distribution model so that Asmodee can, or the equivalent of Asmodee, can focus on what they're good at, and Equinox slash Altered can focus on what they're good at, which is the designing of the game state and the gameplay, the storytelling and the art, and bringing those three things together. Anyway, enough from me. I hope this can put us a little bit at ease. They have done it once before. Kickstarter was a success. I believe they can do it again. I am skeptical of some of these things, but I am more optimistic that this game can and will survive, that we are going to get greatness coming out of this. I'm more than excited about what innovations in their product they're going to bring. We already see some fantastic innovation coming out in set 4. And what Altered can do, slash Equinox can do, once these perceived shackles, or what they've communicated across as shackles, are completely removed, in creating a more personal relationship between the company and the players, and as stated at the top part, between the company and the stores. I want to close up my monologue of sorts with, there has been a lot of good in a year. I'm excited when Nick and I get together in the next few days to talk about the year in review for Altered and our thoughts. And this bomb that's just come is going to be a complete game changer, because we are changing the state of play. We are changing the way that we do things. My hope is for the better. All right, this is Chili, and I am leaving these comments excited for where the future goes. A little bit scary, but excited in terms of where Equinox is going to take us on the journey. And I hope that most of us stick with it, try it, give it a chance, and let's see if the skeptical part of each of us can be overcome by the joyous part of us, as we're seeing the greatness come out of this more direct relationship with Equinox at the store level and at the individual level. By no means am I trying to say you shouldn't have feelings. By no means am I saying you shouldn't feel worried. But I am going to take the lens of, I think this is a good thing. They would not do this if they didn't believe in themselves. And I, for one, hope to believe in them, that they can actually live up to their expectations and mine. All right, until next one, actually, until just a couple of hours' time when we run our rapid fire tournament. Hasta luego.